Good evening. Welcome to the Novel Neighbors Graphic Novel Night. My name is Melissa Poston. I am the children's buyer here at the Novel Neighbor, and I am a big fan of graphic novels, a big proponent of graphic novels, a big believer in graphic novels are books. Graphic novels are a medium, not a genre, and I am always thrilled when new kids discover them and parents and teachers love them. So I'm so excited to have you all here with me tonight. I'll be talking just for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I have three very special guests, actually four guests, from three of my favorite kids graphic novel imprints, First Second, Harper Alley, and Random House Graphic, and they'll all be on to tell you some more about some of their current and upcoming books. I do want to tell you that for all attendees tonight, you can receive 10% off any personal graphic novel order online tonight or tomorrow by putting code GN for graphic novel in the order comments of your online order or by mentioning it at the register. As always, educators will receive their 20% discount. And don't worry, I'm going to mention that code again, and I'll flash it up on the screen a couple of times in case you didn't have a chance to get that information. It is a huge fall for graphic novels, which I'm just so excited about. And we're going to do a second one of these nights, I meant to say, for young adult books. So I'm really happy about that. But this is a huge fall for graphic novels after a huge spring and a huge summer, which is so great. I mean, it was just a few years ago that I was kind of sort of silently in my head begging people like Raina Telgemeier to draw faster because we needed more graphic novels. And I'm still always eager for more content from people like Raina. But we have so many new and up and coming graphic novelists and so many kids authors, picture book authors and illustrators and middle grade novelists and young adult novelists who have moved to graphic novels as well. So it's just almost an embarrassment of content at this point. I'm so excited. So I'm going to tell you about a few of my favorites that are out now. I'm not going to tell you about any pre-order ones. And then everything we talk about will be available on a list on our website tomorrow. And we will put that link in our social media so that you can go and see everything that we talked about in one list. But if you're taking notes and you want to place an order tonight, that's great. You just use code GN in the order comments. Okay, so I'm going to talk first about the two that have been out the longest. I've talked about them a lot. I'm going to talk about them again. So if you haven't already heard me talk about Paranorthern and the Chaos Bunny, a Hopcalypse. This is a fantastic, diverse fantasy graphic novel. It's fall break in the supernatural town of North Haven, and Abby is a young witch, and she has plans to just sort of hang out with her friends and, you know, sort of get up to not no good, but, you know, just sort of teenage stuff. And instead, her budding magic kind of goes a little haywire, and she accidentally opens a portal into another world that is entirely populated by chaos bunnies. And the bunnies escape through the portal into our world and wreak havoc. Absolutely delightful. I just love it. I'm going to talk about it forever. Jukebox is another one that I've talked about a couple of times, but I'm going to talk about it again. It's about a young girl who mainly connects with her dad based on music. Like her whole life, he has brought home new albums and they have listened to them together and talked about them. And now she is getting older and it's still the main way that they communicate. And she really wishes that he would kind of get in on her stuff more. And she gets really frustrated and they have a fight. And he sort of storms out of the house and he's going to go record shopping. And he doesn't come back that night. And then he doesn't come back the next night. And so she decides to go off and look for him with her cousin. And they eventually end up at this record store that he loves. And the record store is closed, and it's never closed at this time. It's always open. So they kind of sneak around the back and they find that a window is open. And they go inside and they find this weird glowing jukebox and they decide to play the record. And when they play the record, it takes them back in time to the time period when the record was popular. And they figure out that probably her dad got transported back in time via this jukebox and maybe he's stuck. So they decide to keep traveling to try to find him. And one of my favorite parts about this amazing graphic novel by Nidhi Chinani is that they go back to some really important times in history important from a musical standpoint, important from a social justice standpoint, important from a history standpoint. And you'll learn some really interesting things while also going through this really great time travel story. So, Jukebox. This is Jana and the Unpossible Monsters by our local graphic novel authors, Chris and Laura Samney, with art also by Chris. This is very new. It's so great. It's about a young girl named Rainbow who's been looking for her sister Jana for over a year. Their world began to experience a severe drought, and these monsters appeared. And so Rainbow's been going from town to town asking survivors if they have seen her sister. And then one day, Jana is spotted, and she's kind of become like this feral creature, and she's stronger than ever before. She's strong enough to like knock out these monsters, and she's been surviving on her own without Rainbow and without anyone. And everybody thinks that the monsters in the drought are like the scariest thing in this world, but that might not be true. And the two sisters reunite, and they have to sort of discover this strange new world together. So good. So this is Hooky, and this is a webtoon, and I have to confess I didn't really know what webtoons were before. I mean, I know what webcomics are, but this webtoon is a specific thing. And Hooky is an incredibly popular webtoon, and this is the first time it's ever appeared in print. So this is about two siblings who were on their way to magical school, and everything that could go wrong on the way did go wrong, and they don't show up. And because they don't show up, they're now wanted. So now not only did they not get to magic school on time, and all this crazy stuff happened to them on the way to magical school, now can they not only not go to magical school, but now they're wanted and they're on the run. So this is just like a romp through this incredible magical world full of hijinks and magical creatures and spells and all kinds of stuff as these siblings try to avoid being thrown basically in magical prison for the crime of not showing up at school. You thought you were in trouble when you skipped. Wait till you see what happens in Hooky. I love, this is so long. So, for people who complain that their kids get through a graphic novel in 5 minutes, I mean, come on, they reread them over and over and over again, right? I mean, at least my kid always has. How many times have your kids read those Dogman books? Like 50 times each, right? They will read Hooky. It'll take them a while. But bonus, it's fantastic. I love the art. I love everything about Hooky. I think it's so, so good. I'm really excited for there to be more of this, but I'm probably going to just have to go onto the webtoon and read the rest. I am a huge fan of Pearls Before Swine by Stefan Pastis. He's also the author of the Timmy Failure middle grade series, the mystery series about the boy and the imaginary invisible polar bear. I don't think he's imaginary, he's just invisible. I've been a fan of Pearls Before Swine forever, even though Stefan's puns kind of kill me. But this book, Troubletown, is also full of, it's got lots of puns. It's got lots of his trademark humor. This is about a girl called Wendy the Wanderer, except ironically, she has never actually wandered anywhere. Her dad has a lot of anxiety and does not allow her to go anywhere, really. And he goes away for a business trip for a little while. And she decides to use this time that he is away to roam Troubletown and, of course, get into some trouble. So if you are a Pearls Before Swine fan, there are a lot of Easter eggs in here for you to find. But I thought that this was really funny and also sort of eye-groaningly punny, really just terrific. Okay, this is one of my favorite new early graphic novels. This is I love that this category is growing so quickly. This just came out today. This is an Archie and Reddy book. It's called I Really Dig Pizza. So Archie they're both foxes. So Archie has a pizza that he's saving for his lunch. So he hides it. He decides he doesn't want to share it with anybody, not even his best friend. And he decides to hide it under a pile of dirt. Then Reddy comes along and is like, oh my gosh, I found this pile of dirt. what a huge mystery. And Archie is trying to figure out how to keep Reddy from finding the pizza, and Reddy just wants to solve the mystery of what the pile of dirt is doing there and what's in it. And it's just so delightful. 2 came out today in this series, but it is really a very early graphic novel. I just thought it was delightful. I'm excited for there to be many, many more. I don't know if any of your kids use Epic, the online ebook and content website, but I think it's fantastic. And one of my favorite things is that they have started to publish books. Not just, so they're taking a lot of their online content and they're turning it into actual physical graphic novels and books. Not that ebooks aren't actual books, sorry, misspoke. But they are turning them into physical books, which just delights me because I feel like it just gives them a whole new audience. So this is Bright Family. And I believe this either came out today or last week. This is about the Bright family, and they are they are scientists, they are rocket scientists, and they open a dimensional portal as part of their experiments, and mom and dad get sent off through the portal, and now the kids have to go and rescue them. So lots of daring do across the universe as the kids are off to the rescue, as usually happens in these books. And then this one is just an FYI, in case you did not know. This is the newest in the Babysitters Club. This time, so the series has now passed the baton to Chan Chao, who is the new illustrator of these. This one just came out last week, and it is number 10. Okay, so I am going to bring on my first guest. My first guest is the editorial director of the imprint First Second. Like I said, one of my very favorite graphic novel imprints. His name is Mark Siegel, and I'm going to pop him up into the stream right now. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Melissa.
How are you?
I'm okay. Not a minute, I guess.
Thanks so much for being here tonight. I'm so happy to have you here. I told you I'm such a First Second nerd. And my daughter, who's almost 15, it is her Sorry Other graphic novel imprints. It's her #1 imprint. She will just scan the shelf looking for the logo to make sure that she hasn't missed anything, which just cracks me up.
Oh.
So do you need to share your screen tonight?
Yeah, I have. I can walk through a little slideshow and hopefully not give everyone kind of graphic indigestion with like a bunch of things coming up from First Second.
All right.
And I don't know if you're, are we taking questions? Are we in conversation, or is it just me blabbing?
I think so. I think it'll just be you. Unless you want me to stay and be in conversation, I certainly can. And then if anybody asks a question in the comment section, I'll come back and read it to you. What would you like to do? Okay.
I mean, I'm happy. Whatever you're comfortable with, stick around, or I can just kind of dive in and you can interrupt me anytime.
All right. Well, then I'll just hang and you go ahead and do your thing. I think.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's great. It's so great you're doing this. And I wish I could be there in person. I actually had a trip to Missouri planned before the pandemic, and it'll come at some point. It'll come.
Maybe next year.
I have a couple of Missouri authors, and one of them you might know is Sarah Kenzier, who Gaslit Nation. So she's doing a book for us on dictatorship with Andrea Chalupa.
That's awesome.
She writes, I just finished reading one of her books, and the way she writes about Missouri, like the best and the worst of it, is amazing. It's beautiful and heartbreaking. And so, yeah, I wish I could be there. But New York it is for today. So, okay, so how do I share? I press on share.
Let's see.
Share screen. And I'm looking for a window. Here we go. Are you seeing my PowerPoint?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go into play, which is a little weird because I may not be able to see what you guys see. But let's try. Okay, so I'm in full screen. What are you seeing? Are you seeing?
I'm seeing Tiny Dancer and the 5 World series.
Okay, so you're not seeing all the side stuff that I've got.
No.
Okay, cool. Okay, so hi everybody. So this first one is actually, before jumping into first second, a little just a mention that I have my own projects in this case with other houses. Coming up, it's a kind of a big fall for my own books. I have a book with my wife Sienna called Tiny Dancer, which is a teen memoir. It's older than middle grade, and that's coming up from Simon and Schuster. And then I have a space opera series with Random House, and the 5th and final volume of that, of the 5 Worlds series, is coming out this November. That's the Emerald Gate. So the first one is in October, if I said that wrong.
5 Worlds is very popular here.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Well, that's been an epic adventure of its own, and it's a team of 5 people, a 5-book, 1,250 full-color pages story. So it's been, it's definitely a kind of a moment for us, and we're heading into other things with it, with shows and things, but more on that another time. But I thought I'd mention that. So am I speaking tonight? Is it, I'm really speaking to educators, right?
It's actually educators, and we opened it to everybody. So it could be educators, parents, kids. We're not really sure who's tuning in. Since most people are virtual. So yeah, I would assume all kinds of people.
Okay, that's great. So my only worry is, like, I don't see the comments bar the way I'm set up here. Is that okay? Can you just maybe?
Yep. If anybody comments with a question, I will read it to you.
Cool. Thank you, Melissa. That's great.
Of course.
Okay, so, well, one of my projects is the first second publishing project, which I started 15 years ago. It's part of Macmillan, which is one of the big 5. It used to be there were the big 6 publishers in the US, and now it's 5. And
soon it'll be the big 4.
Yeah, it's going to be the big 4 for sure at some point. I mean, nothing's for sure, but it looks that way. Macmillan is right now the smallest of the big 5, and it's the one it's privately owned. It's a family of philanthropists, basically, who started it. And so first second, what I'm going to be sharing with you here are some current and upcoming titles that are in our middle grade list. But first second has always been, for me, a dream of creating an editorial home for great voices, great creators. So writers, artists, cartoonists, all working in the graphic novel form. And I grew up in France, where the graphic novel, since the late 70s, was already part of the reading diet of all readers. And now that's really come to happen in the States, which I'm very happy about, because I think there's some fantastic writing and artwork and storytelling in this medium right now. And I probably don't have to sell you on it, because the kind of talks I gave to educators, especially librarians and school teachers, when I started first second, the librarians were always on board, especially the teen librarians, who basically made first second, because we started getting these awards from the librarians, from the library world, that had never been given to comics before, like the Prince, and since then there's been, so we have, we have a very kind of loving connection with American librarians, and they're our heroes. But now, many of our books are adopted in courses in middle school, in high school, in colleges. We have, tens of thousands of college adoptions on our books now, which is huge. So it tells you, in a sense, that it's already happened in America, and maybe some people haven't caught up to it, but it's definitely happened that it's now part of the reading diet. And if there's any of you out there that are, young readers or, young adults, you're kind of growing up in a culture that doesn't have the stigma of graphic novels, which is great. It's part of your literacy. So, okay, so I know I have 10 minutes, so let's keep moving. So this is currently one of our most popular books of all. It's the trilogy, the Shannon Hale trilogy. Started with Real Friends and was followed up by Best Friends, and just came out recently as Friends Forever, which is now 8th grade, and my daughter just came out of 8th grade, just starting 9th grade, with a huge sigh of relief having made it. And these are fantastic. I think, the reason we've sold over 1 million of each of the first two is the, I think it's emotionally true.
Yes.
It's resonant in ways that you can't fake. It's not really like, in a sense, you could say, we're following in on the trail of Raina Telgemeier here, who kind of paved the avenue of this kind of young middle grade memoir. But this is definitely not jumping on a bandwagon. This is the real stuff, and it's great. And you'll see we have quite a lot more memoir in our current lists.
It's one of our most popular series. When it first came out, that was exactly how we sold the first book. Like, this is for your Raina fans, and now it's like, no, this is the new Shannon and Lewin book. So
yeah, and they're both incredible high caliber talents.
Yes.
Lewin Pham has made about 100 picture books.
No, she's so prolific.
She is prolific, and I met her on her first picture book when I was back at Simon & Schuster, like 16, 17 years ago. And since then, she's done several graphic novels for us, and so in her own right, she's just an extraordinary creator. And Shannon, of course, is a super high caliber writer, and this is some of her best stuff is actually in the graphic novel form. So you see, I'm including pages from the books. I feel like all too often in book publishing, we rely on covers, and we were doing that for a long time, and our catalogs and our launch presentations, even internally at Macmillan with the sales force. And then I realized, like, what? A graphic novel, as any reader knows that visits your bookstore, you crack it open. You need to see what kind of a reading experience is this, which lives as much in the text as it does in the pictures. So I'm not going to necessarily say exactly what the slides are saying. I'm assuming you've got that information visually, in good kind of graphic novel fashion. But these include, little comp titles, as we call them, for fans of other books. And Jen Wang was another memoir. Stargazing was a terrific memoir. So, okay, so that's one. Then just today, I believe this came out, 9/14.
Yep.
Bad Sister. So Charisse Miracle Harper is another phenomenal talent, and this is another memoir. What's great about this, not unlike Shannon Hale, is she confronts herself as and the not very kind sister that she came to realize she was, which takes a bit of guts. It's honest, it's real. And Charisse did for us the Crafty Cat series, and then she also wrote Just Grace. And she has a very unique style. It's like a mix of there's like a little European feel to it, but also this kind of very American pace. And what's great is, like, I think it's kind of a phenomenon how the memoir and the comics medium have meshed so beautifully you know, and it's obviously vital, and it has a connection for readers today. Like, it's a way of translating your experience, you know, where you can get a little distance from it, but at the same time reenact it, which is kind of an amazing thing. And this, you know, it's really in the same kind of wheelhouse, is in the memoir. And you'll see there are a few others on the list coming up. But before that, there's Investigators. So
yes.
So Investigators, you know, when we got this first proposal from John Patrick Green, we were the other John Green. You know, we basically looked around, and we try. First Second prides itself on, you know, some pathfinding, some kind of pioneering, but occasionally we will, you know, jump on a bandwagon, and we basically kind of took the format entirely from Dogman. And we were like, it's really for the same reader.
Yeah.
And it's a delight. And he has kind of turned this into this cottage industry. He's just churning them out, but they're incredibly fun. Of course, Hollywood has already come knocking on the door.
Excellent.
Yeah, many things like that to look forward to. And they're delightful. It's just both the dialogue, and I think, you know, and I'm saying Dogman, and I'm really just talking about the publishing format. You know, it's that kind of small pocket paper overboard. But in terms of the content, it's just really uniquely its own thing, you know, and the vibe is quite delightful, and the characters are there's even like some poignancy creeping in as the series evolves. It's really great.
Yeah, it's definitely not like aping Dogman, but I feel like it is definitely, if you like Dogman and you're like, I need something else, Investigators is so enjoyable. We've definitely seen the audience growing here, and I hope that it just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, well, for us, it's huge. I mean, it's already taken off like on an incredible scale. So we're definitely very happy with how this is launched. So Other Boys is another memoir, another graphic memoir, and it does have a bit of that New Kid and Hey Kiddo, you know, wrestling with some of the awkward, more difficult struggles and issues of the middle grade life, and you know, first brushes against toxic masculinity. It's great. This is reviewed really beautifully, and I believe this is his debut, and I know we have something more in the works.
Oh, that's great. It looks so good.
It's great, and it's also a young boy, you know, discovering his passion for art, which you're seeing in the very pages, you know, you hold in your hands, and it's again another way that the graphic novel is so unique as a medium. And next up we have Ben Hatke, who's definitely one of our star authors, and this is for his youngest set of readers.
It's one of my favorite picture book series of all time.
Isn't it awesome? I think
so good.
It's so good. So the first one, Julia's House for Lost Creatures, it's just Ben is one of these people that just draws from, you know, there's just his wellspring, you know, and there's a lot more coming from where he draws this from. But what's great is he's working. I mean, his famous series is Zeta Space Girl.
Yes.
And you know, both Zeta and Julia are named after two of his daughters. And I was just speaking with him today. He lives in Virginia, and he's got this little a little shed that's his studio, and out of that shed he just produces such magic. He's also just a really good human being, very good human spirit, and it shows in his work. So these are actually picture books. So they're I'll show you in a second, but this is his backlist, which is...
The whole Ben Hatke oeuvre does really great for us.
Yeah, great. Oh, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, and it's actually all over the world. You know, we keep selling more and more languages. Also, there's Hollywood stuff in the works right now, but he's got, you know, his youngest title is Little Robot, and now he's actually stretching into, there's some more young and also an adult book coming. So he's the full package. Nobody
awesome.
Likes a Goblin is also a really lovely picture book.
It's so good. Yeah, I love everything he does.
Yeah, I feel the same. So here are some pages from the third Julia book. Mm-hmm. And you can see, I mean, this stuff, you know, he hand delivered, before the pandemic, he used to show up in our New York office with his entire book, you know, in large, like the picture books were large watercolor boards. There's a lightness and a quality, but it's also, it has substance. And he's a true storyteller. I mean, he's really deep in the craft. He's always researching, always improving. And these are, you know, some of our comp titles. I mean, Vera Brosgol is another one of our star authors and an awesome,
yeah, we love her,
creator. So, okay, so for something a little different, we've got science comics. So the newest one is Whales, which is phenomenal, and I'm so proud of this science comic series.
We're obsessed with these. Yeah,
great. I'm trying to push to see if we can get a spinner rack, because it's time.
Oh, yeah.
We have, you know, I think maybe 25 titles at this point, or 23 titles, and more coming. And they're great. They're, you know, they're packed full of really, really solid science and really, really good cartooning. You know, as opposed to like cheapo cartooning, you know, and we pack in so much science in these that they're being used in high schools. You know, they're intended for middle grade readers, but we get letters from high school teachers as well. And it's just a fantastic model. It feels like we vet, you know, very carefully so that the content is strong, and the range is incredible. From the natural sciences, you know, we've got dogs and cats and crows, but then also robots and drones, you know, flying machines, rockets, the solar system, cars is a beautiful one. It's really great. So that's something I'm proud of. And you can see typically we frame the nonfiction content in a fictional framework. So there's a kind of a story loosely that everything hangs on. And this Whales one is marvelous.
Yeah, the art's amazing.
Yeah. And this goes, you know, the Human Body Theater was, I think, one of our first young middle grade nonfiction science books that just really hit. And that's a gem. So then, you know, I told you we were actually, I'm not even sure if this is truly a memoir, but I think it's memoir inspired. But Horse Trouble is Kristen Varner, and I believe this is her debut as well. I didn't edit this one, but it's a gem. And, you know, I feel like there aren't enough horse graphic novels yet, but we have a couple of them in the works. And it just has, you know, both about horseback riding and also about body image and struggles with, you know, very real life struggles of the middle grade life. And very much in this kind of bookshelf. And then this one is not a memoir, but it's Alina Chao, and she has done, this is her first graphic novel, but she's done some beautiful picture books. And this is a gem of a book. It's just a lovely fantasy with some real substance to it. These are some of her prior picture books. And here's a little sample of her pages. And it's just, you can see it's this very painterly kind of illustration style, which doesn't always work in comics, but I think she really does make it work. And this is definitely for fans of Pashmina, if you've read that one.
Oh, yeah.
And other graphic novel, kind of fantasy-inflected memoir material. And then I told you I'd give you graphic indigestion. I'm just piling them on here. But if you haven't caught on to the Margot Malou series,
oh yeah, we love these.
It's awesome. And Drew Wang is where is he? I think he's in Atlanta. He's married to Eleanor Davis, who's also a phenomenal cartoonist. And these are really, really, really delightful, packed with great story, great settings. And these are the first two, Creepy Case Files of Margot Malou and then The Monster Mall. And this third one is just, it's just very, very rewarding reads. He's just, I think, one of the great cartoonists that's working today. You can see, I think I'm going way over my time here. And I'll quickly mention the Maker Comics, which is another nonfiction series. These are instructional. So we have this new one on a science experiment, but we had, bake like a pro, fix a car, draw a comic, create a costume, grow a garden, build a robot, survive the outdoors. That just came out. These are really great. This is the kind of stuff I feel like comics is so good at this as a medium. And I'm just cruising through these. Yeah, okay, that's good. That was my presentation.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. That was awesome. And I'm sure that everybody at home and who's going to tune in to watch it unrecorded are just going to love so many of those. So thank you, Mark, for your time. I really appreciate your being with us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Okay, so now I am going to bring on my next guest, who is Andrew Arnold. He's the editorial director of Harper Alley. And it is Harper Alley's 1-year anniversary, correct?
Hard to believe, yes.
I know. So many great books in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was nice hearing Mark just go and hear you talk previously. I feel bad. I don't have that, an awesome deck here to share with you. It's just my ugly mug. And, I'm going to hold up some books. I also got to say
we're going to make a shiny list for everyone so they'll be able to go and look at the covers tomorrow and stuff if they miss things as they go by. So do you want me to stay while you present? Do you want to present by yourself? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, I'm fine. When you say if you don't stay, you're not like leaving, right? You're just.
I would pop myself out of the stream in case you wanted to do your solo presentation. But I'm also happy to just sit here and make comments while you talk.
No, I'm fine for you to step, to whatever, step aside, and I'll just talk. All right. If that's okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm always happy to have more the merrier, though, too. I will say
I'll come back at the end.
Okay, cool. I will say that I apologize in advance if you happen to hear some crying coming from my phone over here. Our 6-month-old is currently teething, and he's like having a hard time sleeping through the night, which he's like keeping his mom and dad awake, and he's waking us up early. So if you hear any crying, that's what it is, and she'll take care of him. But yeah, so my name's Andrew Arnold. I am the editorial director of Harper Alley. Like Melissa said, we just launched about a year ago in the fall of 2020 with a collection of, I think it was 10 titles. But HarperCollins, we are a part of HarperCollins Children's Books. HarperCollins Children's Books was publishing comics before I got here to a great success, actually. Not that I'm surprised, but they published Nimona before I got here, which, was a National Book Award finalist, and Noelle's gone on to do a number of awesome things. She's a writer for Lumberjanes and She-Ra, just a phenomenal work. I don't have it on me, but HarperCollins also had already planned to publish New Kid by Jerry Craft, which, went on to win the Newbery. which is amazing. This I do have, Class Act on Me, which is the second book in that we got from Jerry that came out not too long ago. So Harper has been publishing graphic novels since before I got here. When I joined, it was my job to sort of pull together everybody's sort of unique vision from across the division to publish graphic novels that felt like, so we could put forth a cohesive message. And we've published books by Robin Ha, Almost American Girl. We've also, like I said, Class Act by Jerry Craft. As well as New Kid. And, just starting last year, we published some of our Harper Alley's own titles. Lightfall by Tim Probert came out last fall. We've got another book coming from Tim this coming winter. PB&J, an early reader graphic novel for, the reader of Narwhal and Jelly. And as well as Arlo and Pips, King of the Birds by Elise Gravel for that same reader, that same PB&J reader. We're also publishing YA graphic novels, Incredible Doom by Matt Bogart and Jess Holden. I'm really proud of this one. This one came out this past summer, earned a couple star reviews. It's really gripping. If you haven't had a chance to dive in, I highly recommend it. It's super cool. But yeah, so I'm here to talk to you about, and I should also say that I come from making comics myself. I've published, I used to work at First Second actually. So I don't know if Mark, you're still there, but hi. It was nice hearing you talk a second ago. Mark was, the editorial director, and I was the art director for a number of years before taking the job here at Harper Alley. While I was at First Second, I worked on also a number of books with a few of my colleagues. The Adventures in Cartooning books, which First Second published, a number of years ago now. There's a bunch of books out, and we're currently working on a few more. But so I make my own comics. I've also got a picture book out that came out this past winter, and another one coming out next winter, I believe, is when it's coming out. So I've worn many hats, and I'm really very thrilled to be able to work with all of the authors that Harper Alley is publishing to tell their very unique and powerful stories. So I'm very thrilled to present to you some of our upcoming fall titles. And like I said, I don't have a presentation, but I'm going to hold up some of the books that I happen to have here at my apartment, which you can see, like I'm on my couch right now in the living room. Thanks, COVID. But yeah, so the first book I wanted to talk about is Cat and Cat Adventures: The Quest for Snacks. This book just came out last week. It's by up-and-coming cartoonist Susie Yee. This is the first book in a series of chapter books that we have from Susie. This is the second one, I believe, comes out next summer. But the story here follows the adventures of not one, but two magical cats who set out on a very important quest to find the ingredients to a potion that will give them the most awesome power, which obviously is the potion for unlimited snacks. Their mission takes them all over, including a boat race across Mew Ocean, a hot air balloon ride over Mount Lava, and eventually to the enchanted rainforest, where they discover that it hasn't rained there, in a number of weeks. So this, while this is a cute, fun adventure story, it's also, it's also very poignant and far too timely. It's got this really strong environmental angle to it, one that subtly reinforces to young readers, just how important it is to care for your environment, starting, as soon as you can. So I previously mentioned this, but this one just came out, or if I didn't mention this, I apologize. It came out last week, the first one did, and we have another one currently slated for the summer of 2022. So we're real excited to launch Susie with Cat and Cat Adventures: The Quest for Snacks. So next up is, unfortunately, I don't have the books in hand for the next two or three titles, but is Garlic and Vampire. Garlic and the Vampire, excuse me. A middle grade graphic novel by Bree Paulson. This is a cute, heartfelt story set in a vegetable world. Yep, that's right. It's set in a world full of vegetables and, I guess other things too. That follows a character named Garlic who one day, when all the vegetables learn that a supposed bloodthirsty vampire has moved into an abandoned nearby castle, they all agree that garlic, obviously, naturally, is the ideal candidate to confront him. After all, garlic drives away vampires, right? So yeah, this is an enchanting farm fresh debut starring an unusual hero for middle grade readers looking for a cozy, adventuresome read. In the vein of Which Boy or Be Prepared, like Cat and Cat, this book is out now, and lucky for us, for all of us, this isn't the last we'll see of our garlic hero. She'll be back with us next fall in a new adventure, Garlic and the Witch. So be on the lookout for that. So moving right along, next up we have Tide Song by Wendy Zhu. Tide Song marks Wendy's solo graphic novel debut and the first of not one or even two, but three graphic novels that we have with her here at Harper Alley. Tide Song is a story of self-acceptance with a magical twist. It follows a young girl named Sophie whose family has put a lot of pressure on her to attend the best magic academy in town. So she's sent to go live and train with her relatives, who we quickly learn have other plans for her, plans that are mainly involve chores. So she decides to, she's like, screw that, I'm going to try casting spells on my own. When one of her spells leads to an unexpected predicament, Sophie has to decide if she can put her own interests aside to help a friend in need. This is a book about self-acceptance and friendship, and perfect for fans of Studio Ghibli. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first of three graphic novels we have with Wendy. The next one is currently scheduled for fall 2023. So excited to be working with Wendy. And next up, we've got a YA graphic novel, the only YA graphic novel I'll be discussing with you tonight, Squad, pitched as Pretty Little Liars meets Teen Wolf. This is a fast-paced, funny, patriarchy-smashing feminist graphic novel.
I'm coming back because I'm obsessed with this book.
Oh, well, yeah, feel free to jam with me here. From author Maggie Taduka-Hall and artist Lisa Sturl follows the new girl, Becca, who can't believe it when the school's most popular clique asks her to join the group. She also can't believe their secret either, that they're all werewolves. It's for fans of Paper Girls and Alina K. Arnold. Lisa's stylish illustrations pair with the sharp writing from Maggie for a fun, haunting, and fast-paced thriller. I was going to share a quote from Laura Ruby that I thought really, it really artfully captures how special this book is. But Melissa, I mean, maybe you want to say something because you joined, so I can tell you.
I want to know what Laura said because I love Laura, but I got an early copy of this book and I read it twice back to back, and I don't ever read even a graphic novel arc. I don't read multiple times, and I read it so fast because I was so excited, and I was like, I have to go back and I have to slow down and I have to read it again because I know I miss things. I just think it's so sharp and timely and funny and gross. And just, I mean, I love Maggie. I've known her for a long time, like back when she was a bookseller and then when she worked for Candlewick. And I just think she's amazing. And I think this is I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, same here. We feel the same way. And I just feel like it's just the visuals they really immerse you in the story. It's just really well done. And I will add, just because this is what Laura had to. Wait, did I lose my quote? Hold up. Yeah, here it is. Here's what Laura had to say. So people call them all kinds of names, creeps, jerks, but the right word is predator, and that's who we hunt. Becca wants what every high schooler does, to have a group of friends, a squad. But Becca's new friends are more than a clique. They're a pack, and this pack is hungry. Squad is a fast-paced and feminist horror story for every girl who's ever felt like prey and asks how far a girl should go to hunt the hunters.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this is out next month, and we can't wait for you all to. I mean, this is probably a terrible pun, but if you'll allow me, we can't wait for you all to sink your teeth into it. Sorry.
I knew that was coming, and it's still
I'm a little sleep deprived, so a lot of the jokes here that I'm saying may be a little, silly. But yeah, I'm about halfway through the list of titles I was going to talk to you all about now. So to kick off the back end of what I was going to share with you all is another middle grade graphic novel, Another Kind. This one is by debut authors Kate May and Trevor Breen. Another Kind, it's a lot of things. But what it's not is it's not your average monster story. This follows the journey of 6 misfit monster kids who are feared by the world around them, and band together as they search for a new place to call home. But as luck, or something like it, would have it, they find something more menacingly powerful along the way. It's a genre-bending adventure story, but it's the character relationships, I think, that and strong themes of found family that really sit at the heart of it. It's also just really beautifully illustrated. This one is this is a bound galley. So the books aren't in yet, but you can sort of see how just richly illustrated it is. It's so pretty. And Kate just really outdid herself with the visuals. Not that I'm surprised. She's just such an incredible cartoonist. So you can see the bound galley also has some pencils and inks, which is always, I think, kind of cool to show folks. See, there are some pencils like before it becomes this. It at one point looked like that. So that's another kind. Let's see. So so this one comes out October 26th, and we can't wait for you to check it out to see how special it is. And speaking of special, Treasure in the Lake. This is another graphic novel that just a debut, actually, that just came out. This story follows 2 kids who discover a city hidden under a nearby river that unexpectedly runs dry. As they explore this town that used to be flooded, they begin to unearth a forgotten tale of friendship and disaster that seems, for some reason, curiously familiar. Before long, past and present collide, and they must each take a leap of faith to reconnect before they're swept away. This is a beautifully rendered, transportive work that I think readers will find themselves completely lost in. And when they finally come, this is another bad pun. When they finally come up for air, they'll want to dive right back in and experience it all over again. And like I was saying, this one came out. This is already out. It came out last week. So you can get your hands on a copy. There's like the visuals here in this book are just stunning. You can sort of see some here. I highly recommend checking this out. Kazu Kibuishi said, called this a beautifully drawn coming of age adventure story, and I think he says it has it right. This piece of art was actually featured on the cover of Booklist, which is pretty awesome. But so this is another one we're really thrilled, excited about. And so I've got one more. Last but not least, is Jared Green's semi-autobiographical middle grade graphic novel, A-OK. A book that will do for acne what Raina Telgemeyer's Smile did for braces. This is a vulnerable, funny, and heartfelt exploration of friendship, self-confidence, and identity that follows Jay, right here, an 8th grader. I mean, this pretty much sums up what he's experiencing as an 8th grader, who starts the school year with just a few pimples. But before he knows it, his acne is just out of control, and he's prescribed a powerful medication that comes with some really hardcore side effects, like mood swings, super dry skin, and a far too restrictive diet for any 8th grader. Not only that, Jay and his best friends continue to drift apart. All the while, Jay's beginning to wonder why he doesn't reciprocate the same feelings that 2 of his classmates, a boy named Mark and the new girl in school, Mickey, have for him. This story is loosely based on Jared's struggles with acne and his own early understanding of asexuality. He drew from his own childhood experiences and brings an unmatched level, which I think brings an unmatched level of authenticity and empathy to each of his characters. And I look forward to sharing this one with you, as well as all of the other titles I've talked about today, and just our general list. I think it's really, if you haven't taken a look at what we're doing over at Harper Alley, I mean, I think, I hope you do. I think I'm really proud of the list we've started, that we've built so far, and look forward to seeing how it continues to grow over the many years to come. So thank you so much for having me, Melissa. This was awesome. I really appreciate you including me. And I hope to, like Mark said, I hope to come visit, sometime in person myself.
Yeah,
so
love to have you. We'd love to do an event for your next picture book too. That would be awesome. So I'm gonna send you an email about some stuff, and we love PB&J, especially here. Like, I'm obsessed with the Harper Alley list, but PB&J is one of my favorite graphic novel series ever. I just think it is so fantastic.
We have another, just if you'll allow me one more, we have another book coming from Smitty that he's teaming up with one of his fellow cartoonists on. It's like Mark, investigators. It's sort of in that same space and Dogman, but it's about a crime-fighting lobster named Officer Clawsome. So stay tuned.
That is fantastic. Thank you again for being here tonight. It was so great to have you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody.
You too. All right, and our third and final guests tonight are with us from Random House Graphic. Random House Graphic launched at Random House in spring of 2020. They are the publishers of so many great graphic novels, including store favorites Witches of Brooklyn, Seance Tea Party, and The Magic Fish. We all love their stuff so much, so please join me in welcoming editors Michelle Nagler and Whitney Leopard. Sorry, Whitney.
I get Leopard a lot, but that was the first thing I heard.
I'm literally looking right at your name on my and I spelled it correctly and everything, so absolutely no excuse.
No, it's amazing. Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. Are you going to share screen? Are you going to just talk to each other? Let me know your.
So we're going to share screen.
Okay.
We're going to see if this works to have it's going to have Whitney share screen, and I'll talk first, and then we'll swap or something.
Perfect. All right, let me pop your screen up.
Oh, look at that. Okay, great.
All right. And so Mark Siegel, at First Second, also he's already announced your Five Worlds book, so you got two plugs in this.
I love it. Mark Siegel is the great connector of all things graphic novels, so that really, really works. As Melissa said, I am Michelle Nagler, and I am the associate publisher. I'm actually at Random House Children's Books, Random House Books for Young Readers, which is a little bit different than Random House Graphics. Random House Children's Books has been publishing graphic novels for a very long time, where Whitney's list is brand new and fresh and exciting. We have been around for a while. We were the publishers of Baby Mouse, for example. So we've been in this world for a while. Some of our most recent hits also include books like Hale. So we do pretty commercial, a lot of series. And what you're going to hear me talk about tonight is a lot of our series. And so let's begin with an ending. As Mark told you, our final installment for Five Worlds. Five Worlds number 5 is coming this fall. We like to call Five Worlds Star Wars meets Avatar. It is definitely a cult favorite. To read Five Worlds is to love Five Worlds. Its fan base is super loyal. We've seen it grow with every book. Each book that goes on sale has more pre-orders than the previous one. So you want to be sure to start with number 1. You will want to read them all. And as of November, you finally can read them all, which is just the best thing. You can just run right through them. This is a series that I acquired from Mark and started editing myself in 2017. So while I am super, super sad to see this saga end, I am also cheered by the fact that it is under option and in development, hopefully for an animated show one day, which would be amazing. The art is spectacular in these books, like just the color work
so
alone. They are so, so, so beautiful. And in each of the books I'm going to present, I'm going to tell you one thing that I love about them. And the thing that I love about Five Worlds is, of course, Mark Siegel, who you heard from earlier today. He is the ringmaster of this circus. He keeps this team of 5 people all aligned and working together. And to see the teamwork among these creators is so inspirational. I take a lot of inspiration from it myself. So next up is Max Meow. This is our third Max Meow. He is back this fall and up against pug invaders from outer space. Max is, unlike Andrew, I'm not even going to apologize for the puns. I'm just going to keep him coming for this whole presentation, so get ready. Max is positively hilarious graphic novel series with catitude. It is perfect for anyone who likes to laugh. Yeah. I got an audience. It's so great. Don't take my word for it. Kirkus Review raved. This series is full of humor and action. This will be catnip for fans of Dave Pilkey's Dogman. We're establishing a really quick shelf presence with this. John Gallagher is a machine. He is so prolific. This is our 3rd book in just about a year. And what I love most about this series is the fact that it appeals to such a wide range of people, of readers. We have kid quotes on this from like 1st grade through 8th grade. it's really, and that is, I mean, it's part of the magic of graphic novels is they really range. And this one is a great example. One of my favorite kid quotes we have in comes from Kevin, who's in first grade. And Kevin says, "I really liked the book. I liked the part where he ate the giant meatball. It's like Captain Underpants, but with a cat."
Giant reviews are the best.
And space puns. I mean, John Gallagher's amazing. What more could we want? We mostly kept this presentation to middle grade, but Andrew snuck in a few chapter books himself, so I will also sneak in a chapter book next.
Excellent.
A plug. We've been doing a lot of these between both the Random House Graphics and Random House list. Donut Feed the Squirrels on the Random House Graphics list is one of my personal very favorites.
Love that book.
Love. So the artwork is just so sweet and perfect and funny and so expressive. We also have Pizza and Taco and Shark and Bot are two of my other favorites on the Random House list.
Pizza and Taco especially is very popular here.
I mean, it is selling very, very well for us. I'm not gonna lie.
How could Pizza and Taco not be popular? I'm
Right.
just asking.
Today, I'll tell you a little secret. Today in an art meeting, we're doing our first box set next year. And it's this box set that looks like a pizza box. And we saw a design for it today. And it is unbelievable. The whole meeting on, Zoom on the screens, we were all just like,
That is amazing.
So this fall, we are launching a new one. We do try to keep these fresh. This is our new one, Bobo and Pup Pup. It's just got its first starred review from BCCB. It says, "For readers who've battered the spines of their elephant and piggy books, Bobo and Pup Pup are their next best pals." And I think that's just spot on. It is a really irresistible buddy comedy. And what I love most about Bobo and Pup Pup is the author, Vikram Maiden, who grew up in India but now lives in Seattle and worked in tech before coming to his senses and, quote, following his heart into the visual and literary arts. So I love that he was just this techie guy who was like, no, I need to write graphic chapter books.
I love that.
Next is Pacey Packer, Unicorn Tracker number 2. Think of this series as Unicorns 2.0. It's perfect for unicorn fans, but also perfect for eye-rolling tweens who are like so over it, because these are not your little sister's unicorns. It is hilarious and snarky. There's 2-color purple art throughout with really strong, like sort of immediately accessible graphics. It's very sassy, lots of voicey humor, very reminiscent actually of Baby Mouse, I would say, or also Bad Kitty. This is a slightly younger format. I think we were talking about it earlier, this kind of paper overboard Dogman format that also has a nice wide readership. It's a little bit younger than Phoebe and Her Unicorn, and just right for those unicorn fans kind of aging out of chapter books and ready for something a little bit longer. And what I love most, that unicorn right there, his name is Slasher. Slasher. It's great. And I think maybe the last one from me is on our Knopf list. Jared Krasaska's back. Yay!
So excited about this.
So excited. Lunch Lady is back this fall. We are making 2 Omni editions. So what that means is we are binding up in 2-for-1s, the first helping and the second helping, books 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The original Lunch Ladies were like Baby Mouse 2-color. They were black and yellow throughout. And these brand new ones are fully colorized for the first time. And they're in a bigger paper overboard format. So they're really going to feel fresh and modern on shelves. They each have an essay in the back from Jared himself about the creation and the history of the books. He has the best stories about Lunch Lady. If you ever get him to come, he's just amazing.
I've known Jared a long time and I just love him. I am hoping that in the after times he will get back out.
I hope so. It's just such a
TikTok is amazing.
Yeah. Hey Kiddo is not ours, but like just putting in a plug for it. It was so happy to see him get sort of the serious acclaim that he is so deserving of with that National Book Award nomination. He's amazing. And then, so following up on this, we will have an all new 11th Lunch Lady coming probably the following year. And that, I believe the title is Lunch Lady and the Perilous Pizza Creature.
Nice.
Yeah. The thing I love most about this series, in addition to the fact that it has never gone out of print, and this will be the first new one in a decade, is that a couple years ago, I got to do library duty at my child's elementary school, and I watched second graders just giggling madly over this series, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I absolutely Yeah, I want to leave on Lunch Lady for a sec because I have to admit to something. Lunch Lady is not a book that I've edited, but it's my niece's favorite comic in the entire world. And so like I send her comics being like, oh, but look at these books that I worked on. And she's like, I don't care, Aunt Whitney. Where's more Lunch Lady? Like that's what she wants in life. So she's going to be very excited to hear this news because she is Lunch Lady's #1 fan.
That is so great. I love that. And this isn't on Whitney's list or my list. This is like on the Knopf list. We're just fans.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, we're just all fans. Like Michelle said, I'm Whitney Leopard. I am the senior editor for Random House Graphic. And so, we're still a fairly new imprint. We're on our 2nd year. So I kind of say we're not new anymore. We are on our 2nd year. We have published many books. Including Mere Good Boy, which is the launch of a brand new series. It is for fans of books like Dog Man or Investigators. It's a book about a dog that is a mayor, and he is the mayor of a small town. Yes. Michelle has it up right there.
I love this one.
Yeah, it is a tongue-in-cheek humor by Dave Scheidt and Miranda Harmon, and it is just, it's about 2 kids who want to figure out how to do their best for their town, and it's just nothing but humor and cheese jokes and stinky feet jokes, and but also about community engagement. So there's like a nice little heart message between all the humor in between, and it's so much fun. And if you're in Chicago, or if anyone know anyone in Chicago, there's Mere Good Boy ice cream at a local ice cream parlor, which is peanut butter ice cream with a cheese cracker crust. Which I think sounds very interesting, and I wish I was in Chicago so that I could try it.
Yes.
Next book on our list, which is next book on our list, which is the next book for the Witches of Brooklyn series, which is a Brooklyn What the Hex. In the first Witches of Brooklyn book, we got to meet Effie, and she got to meet her new family and make new friends as she started a brand new life in Brooklyn, and also learned out that she had magic and that their magic runs in the family. And in What the Hex, Effie, still being the new kid in school, is actually no longer the new kid in school. And in fact, is she no longer the new kid in school? She's not the newest witch in town either. And so life is getting turned upside down for Effie, who was creating this new positive identity for herself, but now suddenly has to share the limelight with someone new. And it's a great story about friendship and learning to share your friends with other people. And that doesn't make your friendships any less valuable, while at the same time, learning new magic as Effie gets into her powers and gets to learn new abilities that she is just so excited about. And I'm so excited about this series as we continue to do more books with Effie and her aunts and everyone else involved in her life here in Brooklyn. And then next is a book called Just Roll With It. And this book is fantastic. It's a book about a young girl, Maggie, who is dealing with OCD in her life, but she isn't quite sure what to call it yet. And basically what she does is to help her make decisions, she rolls a dice. And if it's for any D&D players or any tabletop game players, you'll understand that like it'll be, oh, she can talk to the person beside her if she rolls +10. And if it's -10, then she can't talk to the person beside her. And it'll be small things like that, but it slowly adds up. And it's a book about dealing with anxiety and making decisions and believing in yourself, but also dealing with neurodiversity and understanding that, brains work differently for different people. And sometimes, that can cause different interactions between your family and your friendships and how you interact with school. But overall, it's just a fun story about Maggie as she makes friends and as she starts middle school for the first time and as she kind of gets to know more about herself in the process. And it's a super sweet story by Veronica Argawal and Lee Durfee-Lavoie. And it has a special place in my heart. So I really hope everyone gets a chance to check it out this year. And then another book for fall this year, and I believe this is my last fall book I'm going to talk about, is called Yummy, A History of Desserts by Victoria Grace Elliott. And this is a nonfiction book about the history of desserts. So where cakes come from, where ice cream comes from, where brownies, all that information. And inside this graphic novel, there's history lessons, there's legends. So like how the ice cream cone came to be, is that fact or is it fiction, and things like that. While there's also easy to do recipes for any of the readers to do at home, and there's just things for everyone to try with every single chapter. This book is like literally colorful and bright, and everything looks delicious, and it makes me hungry every time I read it, which is probably not a good thing because none of the food in here is very healthy, but it's just such a great experience, and I'm excited to get to share it with everyone. And so those are the main books that we wanted to cover, and then we had some teasers that me and Michelle wanted to do for books that we have coming out in spring of next year. Michelle, if you want to start.
I sure do. Sorry, I was turning my air off. It just went, of course it went on, and I'm going to sound like I'm in a wind tunnel. So hold on, that should come off in a sec. Okay, so Katie the Cat Sitter. This is the second one, Best Friends for Never, is coming this spring. Last spring, we debuted Katie the Cat Sitter #1 and immediately felt so much love, especially from our indie friends. This contemporary middle grade graphic novel is all about friendship and superheroes and cats. Lots of cats. 217 cats, to be precise.
We've done very well with Katie.
Yeah, it is really brilliantly done. It's perfect, obviously, for fans of Shannon Hale's Best Friends, Awkward, Click, all those contemporary graphic novels. But if you like a superhero story, this is for you too. It's certainly girl power, super relatable and funny. Some heroes have capes. Katie has cats. And what I love most about this is Colleen Venable and Steph Yu are an incredible superhero team of author and illustrator. Just a delight to work with. This is edited by Shayna Corey, who is a brilliant graphic novel editor. And there are so many brilliant details in the art that they bring to it. The alternative, like kind of cool hipster vibe is really high with this series. And it's just a real pleasure.
I mean, nothing could be better than cats. I might
217.
Yeah, the two books that I wanted to shout out was first one is Mapmakers and the Lost Magic, which is the first book to a series. And this book is about Alidade, it's a fantasy series, so she's stuck in a small town, but she discovers basically a forgotten magic through the art of map making and how it kind of awakens these special abilities through understanding of like where you are and where you can go. And it's just this really touching, great adventure, but also very high fantasy adventure all at the same time. It's great for fans of books like Five Worlds and other fantasy adventures, and I think people are really going to love it. And then last but not least is our contemporary middle grade that we have coming out this spring called Scout is Not a Band Kid, in which our main character, Scout, is determined to get a book signed by her favorite author. And the only way that she can get to a convention at the end of the year is that she has to join her local school band in order to be part of a competition that will be local to the convention. And she comes up with this convoluted way to get this author signing. And she decides that she's going to learn how to play trombone, because clearly trombone is the easiest instrument of them all, and she should not have any problem with it. When actually this turns into a story about making friends, understanding good friendship versus bad friendship, and also trying your hardest and believing in yourself and figuring out, what is an actual goal and how can you achieve it without having to walk on others to make that goal happen. It's a really, really fun story, and I'm just really, really excited to get to work with Jade Armstrong with these characters.
Well, those all look terrific. I'm so excited for everything. Thank you both so much for being here with us tonight. I really appreciate your time and your enthusiasm and all of your work for graphic novels. It's one of my very favorite things about publishing, and I just appreciate your time so much.
Melissa, thank you so much for having us. It is a pleasure. Right back at you. Thank you for all you are doing for these books.
Yeah, and thank you for all the graphic novel love, because we are all clearly a little biased if we're here presenting tonight.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you all for being with us tonight. It was so great to have everybody here. And thank you again to Mark from First Second, and Andrew from Harper Alley, and Michelle from Random House Children's Books, and Whitney from Random House Graphic. It was such a treat, and I just loved having publisher guests here. We're going to do this again for sure. We're trying to put more of these, especially for kids books, more of these preview evenings together for middle grade, for YA, for picture books, just to, bring you all in and tell you about things that we're excited about. And having the publisher guests is one of my favorite new things. So again, if you if you're watching, you can get 10% off any graphic novel order or pre-order tonight and tomorrow with code GN. You just put that in the order comments on your online order or mention it at the counter. So again, thank you all so much for being here tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and please feel free always to email me at melissa@thenovelneighbor.com if you have any particular questions or needs for graphic novels or anything else having to do with kids books. Thanks again, everybody. Good night.